My name is Brent Nicola from the Office of University Advancement, and I want to welcome you to the fourth in our series of Chancellor's Town Hall with each one of the deans of our schools and colleges here at U of M Flint. You know, this was something that we started back when the pandemic hit, and has really turned out to be a great way to engage with our alumni and corporate partners and stakeholders, I should say, of the entire university for each of the schools and colleges. So thank you all for joining us and being part of this fourth one of these town halls. This evening, two primary things we will do this evening. One is hear from our chancellor on an update about the university in its entirety. And then we will hear from inaugural Dean Chris Pearson of the College of Innovation and Technology about some of the updates on the college, obviously of which Chancellor Dutta had a big role in kicking off and creating. And so the chancellor will be joining us for that portion of it as well. I do want to say we will be using the Q&A function this evening. So if you do have a question that you would like answered by either the chancellor or Dean Pearson, please put it in there. I will do my best to get all of those to the appropriate people in the hour that we have here. If by chance we don't get to all of the questions, I will certainly work with the dean and with the chancellor to get those questions answered and sent by email or whatever medium possible to get those questions back to you. So thank you again for joining us. I'm going to take this time now to introduce probably a man that needs no introduction, but he's going to get one anyway, and that would be Chancellor Dutta. Chancellor Dutta came to U of M Flint after serving as Chancellor of Rutgers University, New Brunswick, where he led the flagship campus there, a public research institution that had a $1.6 billion annual budget. Before Rutgers, Chancellor Dutta served at Purdue University as Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs and Diversity. He helped increase graduation rates, student advising, and oversaw the expansion of programs in engineering, computer science, business, nursing, and technology. He was also Purdue's Chief Diversity Officer, where he helped launch a strategic plan that increased the faculty of color and enrollment of underrepresented students. Prior to joining Purdue, Chancellor Dutta was Associate Provost and Dean of the Graduate College at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, where he was an endowed professor of mechanical science and engineering and served as interim vice chancellor for research. But most importantly, maybe to us, prior to that, he was a faculty member at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, in the College of Engineering for 20 years. And during the time that he was a professor in Ann Arbor, his wife was also a professor here at the University of Michigan-Flint. So we like to say that Chancellor Dutta did a tour of the Big Ten, but we're glad that he came home to join us here amongst the maize and blue and fellow Wolverines. So thank you for being here, Chancellor.
Thank you very much, Brent. I think the only important thing I want to mention about the Big Ten is I started in the Big Ten when it was actually 10. And not too many people in the audience maybe who remember this, but those were the good days of the Big Ten. But, and especially in March Madness now, I really have more than one institution that I can hang my hat on. But unfortunately, as you know, the only one alive is Big Blue. So no, it's a pleasure to have the opportunity to share some thoughts with all of you. Let me add my welcome. Thank you for joining us. A lot of things are happening at U of M Flint. So let me just give you some highlights. The pandemic was tough for every sector of the economy, for families and so forth. It was tough for us at U of M Flint, but we all came together, faculty, staff, and students, and also the community. So we help each other, we support each other, and I'm very pleased to say that most everything that we planned for worked according to plan. It's very simple to say this, but all the credit goes to faculty and staff. Since March of last year, we pivoted, we put everything online, or most everything online, and then fall was the same, and this winter term is the same. I realized that our faculty have done and continue to do an amazing job, truly, truly. It's hats off to them. Our staff as well. So many of them are on campus, uh, the ones who have to be on campus, but the rest of them are working remotely, and everything is going very well. Our plan, if everything goes according to what we are seeing through the CDC guidelines, the availability of vaccines, that we will have a fall back to normal, the way we used to be. That is what we are planning for. Of course, keeping health and safety of students, faculty, and staff front and center. We will follow the state guidelines. We will follow CDC guidelines. And even when we are back on campus, we will make sure that the COVID guidelines of health and safety are always there. So we want the families of potential students to know this. We want our faculty and staff to know this. We want our students who will be returning back in fall to know this. So this year was difficult, absolutely. The experience wasn't what anyone would have expected, but we'll work hard to make up for it and do some special events for the first year students who had their first year experience completely remotely. So the other important highlight is we did a phenomenal job in the Giving Blue Day, which just ended a couple of weeks ago. I'm sure there are many of you in the audience who participated in Giving Blue Day. So thank you very much. On behalf of the university, I express my gratitude for your support. And honestly, the good work of university advancement, Brent and Mary Jo, who are here with us, and several others who are not, we were able to raise over $800,000, a number that we have never raised in the history of the institution. And honestly, if I may brag a little bit, we came second amongst all academic units, all units at the University of Michigan across the 3 campuses. So the amount that we raised was second only to the LSNA, the largest college on the Ann Arbor campus. So thank you for that. The community came together, rallied around U of M Flint, and we will make sure that we make very good use of the funds that you have so generously made available for us. So this evening we are, the town hall is about the College of Innovation and Technology. And as you heard Brent say, it's our newest college. The opportunity for creating a brand new academic unit from a clean slate or a clean sheet of paper is very rare, very, very rare. I have never had a chance to do this. Very few people have. So, and that's where we are. We are creating a new College of Innovation Technology from the ground up. Everything is open, as in we are thinking about it, we are talking to industry, we are talking to faculty, and we are making decisions. And you'll hear more about that from Dean Chris Pearson. The team that he has assembled is working excellent. My hat's off to them. Although I say that this opportunity for creating a new college is exciting, it's also intimidating. I mean, there isn't a playbook across the university. As the regents approved this, there isn't a playbook. We could not fall back on 1950s that this academic unit was created. So it's intimidating, and especially trying to do this in the middle of a pandemic. we had our plans, we made our plans prior to the pandemic to start this college, but then the pandemic happened, and we decided that we have to move on because it is important for the region, it is important for the university, and this would not have been possible without the support, the generous support of our friends at the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation. We are so grateful for the foundation's decades-long commitment to the university. We are, we really have worked well with them, and we try to make good use of the support that we get from them for any project. And I just want to say that Charles Stewart Mott Foundation is a great partner for many organizations in the Flint area, and one of them is us. The CIT is very appropriate for the times we live in. It's College of Innovation Technology, and I just want to make sure that I distinguish engineering from technology. So by technology, we are referring to applied engineering, as in more hands-on, more applied. Engineering, you might think, is applied physics, and these days maybe applied biology, the way the fields are moving. So technology is applied engineering. So in the Flint context, we are filling the gap between Mott Community College and the associate's degrees in technology that they give, and the bachelor's degree programs that are at Kettering. So we are placed right in the middle of that. And this makes, once the college is up and running and producing graduates, it will make Flint much more attractive to businesses because you have the entire pipeline of associates, vocational degrees, then technology degrees, and engineering degrees. So we are working very closely with industry. I just want to thank our partners, Ford Motor Company, General Motors, next year, Consumers Energy, and Verizon. Also, I'd like to thank David and Francine Zick for their support of this college. Very strong support. And for I'd like to thank Phil and Ardale Schultz of Schultz Automation. They are in town, so we are working closely with them as well. And we are hoping that once this college, and you'll hear more about the programs and so forth from Dean Pearson. Once this college is up and running, U of M Flint will be able to position itself for what I would call the fourth industrial revolution. It would help Flint and Genesee County. So you know, the way to think about it is in the second industrial revolution that brought us automobiles, the IC engine, and mechanized manufacturing, Flint actually did very well. Those were the heydays of Flint. Came the third industrial revolution, which was more dominated by automation, computerized technologies, and globalization. And Flint did not do very well. We all know that. But we are coming out of that in the dawn of the fourth industrial revolution, which is focused on cyber physical systems, but more in technologies like AI and machine learning and digital technologies and so forth. So the way we are thinking about the College of Innovation Technology in consultation with partners are to have programs that are preparing graduates for the future of work, which is evolving. So we are very excited. We are very pleased. We also have, and I'd like to call out that we have very strong strong financial aid programs that we have launched in tandem with the new college and all programs across the University of Michigan-Flint. And that new program is called Blue for You. If you go to the website, and I think our ads will be up soon, if not already. Blue for You is a really comprehensive financial aid program for continuing students and new students. We are just covering the gamut. It really is. So I would urge you to take a look and spread the word. We want to spend the money. We really want to spend the money. We want our students to get the benefit of this. So these are some highlights of the past 8 to 12 months. And let me now hand it back to Brent. I will be here the rest of the evening to answer any questions you might have. Brent?
I had to unmute myself there. Thank you, Chancellor Dutta, for those remarks, and thank you in so many ways. Chancellor Dutta spent quite a bit of his time thanking others, thanking our corporate partners and our individual donors and folks that have helped us. The CSMA Foundation helped us create this college. I have to tell you, I recall being in the Kiva a little over maybe about a year ago when the Chancellor stood in front of the faculty and staff and proposed the creation of a new college. And we all sort of looked at each other, kind of looked around and said, wow, what a bold, creative idea at a time that our campus needed it. And so focused on the economic development of our region and our community. It just was just a wonderful addition to our campus, and certainly a vision that the Chancellor brought here. So we're not going to let him thank everybody else without us saying thank you to him a little bit for the vision of this. And so now to the person that helps get to implement, who certainly played a role in refining that vision and making that vision a reality and putting his stamp on it as well. Dr. Chris Pearson. Dr. Pearson received his PhD from the University of Minnesota in 1995 and a BA from Hamline University in St. Paul, Minnesota in 1989. After 2 years as a postdoctoral researcher at UC Davis, he joined the University of Michigan-Flint faculty in 1998 as an assistant professor, was promoted to associate professor with tenure in 2004 and full professor in 2011. Since joining the University of Michigan-Flint, Professor Pearson has held a variety of administrative appointments, including the chair of computer science, engineering, and physics from 2008 to 2015, and as associate dean of the College of Arts and Sciences from 2015 until he became the inaugural dean of the CIT here just within the last year or so. Professor Pearson's research and scholarly activities have been extensive and is published in top peer-reviewed journals and conference proceedings and given numerous professional presentations. I've had the pleasure of serving with Chris on a variety of committees over the years and appreciate him as a scholar and as a friend. And thank you for being here, Chris.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Brent. Thank you for that introduction. I appreciate that. And it's great to be here with this group today. And I'm glad I was asked to share with the group today. As the Chancellor mentioned, I've been working with a great group of jointly appointed faculty that have been doing a lot of the work that needs to be done to get something established, right? So they've been working very diligently on finding, faculty for the unit and finding staff for the unit and creating the curriculum that needs to go into the catalog. It's always nice to be able to talk at high levels, but then eventually something concrete needs to be put down into the catalog. So they've been working very great, and I can't thank them enough for all the work that they've been doing to get this entity going forward. I'd also like to thank, I know the Chancellor mentioned this, but I would like to thank the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation for helping stand up the College of Innovation and Technology, and also for another project that's really near and dear to me is the MSB expansion. So that building is, I work very closely with it, so I'm sure I'm biased, but it's it's a very transformative building for the UM-Flint campus. So I know that right now people aren't able to be on campus as much as they have been in the past, but when we get back to that time when we're able to do that, I would really encourage people to stroll through that building. It truly is unique. And I'd also like to thank Phil and Ardell Schultz Automation, and thinking about supporting the Smart Learning Factory. We've had some conversations about that and going forward with that, and that would be a fantastic thing. And also David and Francine Zick, thank them very much for their support. I've known David for many years because of his unending support to the physics program, right? So again, I hope you're on the call here, David, because I'm going to tell you that, you have my guarantee that the Foucault pendulum in the basement of the MSV building will be running again, right? So we will make sure that we get that running again, right? So I think I will just transition right into my talk then, and I will start that by sharing my screen here. Let's see. Good. Okay. So clearly, I mean, there are no alumni yet of the College of Innovation and Technology, but that's we're headed in that direction, right? We're certainly headed in that direction. So when contacted about the possibility to present this evening, the special topic, this workforce preparation for the future economy, seemed to really resonate, because this is the crux of the CIT, right? Preparing the talented, in-demand workforce of the future. So my discussion, right, the following discussion will focus on the guiding principles of CIT while incorporating a bit of history and commentary regarding higher ed more generally. So there's been a lot of attention in the media and around given to Industry 4.0 or Manufacturing 4.0, even Higher Ed 4.0. So how do we unpack all this, right? So technologies that drastically alter economic and social structures that exist, right? They mark the revolutions within industry. So steam engines gave rise to transcontinental railroads, right? And that drastically changed transportation. Mass production allowed the working individual to afford a car, and that dramatically changed economic class. Computers changed the way we do business and communicate with each other, and that dramatically changed the workplace and how work is done. So today, right, as the Chancellor mentioned, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, cloud computing, Internet of Things, these are the technologies changing society right now. The fourth industrial revolution is happening right now, and we must prepare students for the digital and creative economy of the future. It is a digital transformation. During the first three industrial revolutions, the skills workers needed to keep ahead of machines were largely cognitive. Machines were doing manual tasks, and cognitive tasks were exclusively for humans. The first three industrial revolutions also witnessed dramatic responses from the government through the Morrill Land Grant Act and also the National Defense Education Act. Higher education responded with engineering emerging as a discipline in response to the needs of mechanization and mass production. And then computer science emerging in response to the increasingly complex algorithms needed to land a person on the moon and bring them safely back to Earth. However, through all of this, education remained focused on building cognitive skills. The fourth industrial revolution, this digital transformation, changes this situation. This transformation, characterized by artificial intelligence and machine learning, means that humans no longer are assured of being the cognitive champion. Thinking or non-routine tasks will be increasingly done by machines. Machines will be able to process more quickly, more cheaply, and with fewer errors than their human counterparts. As artificial intelligence begins to impact the workforce and automation replaces some existing skills, there will be an increased need for emotional intelligence, creativity, and critical thinking. This digital transformation is a disruptive evolution as significant as the preceding revolutions and leads to an entirely new way of working and thinking. Within higher education, the development of cognitive skills has dominated the development of technical and emotional skills. In the future, preparing graduates solely with cognitive skills will not be enough for the digital transformation. Future tasks will require creativity and intuition to solve problems whose solutions require novel, imaginative paths. Although there will remain a demand for skills to program, test, and oversee machines, social skills and emotional intelligence, creativity, and critical thinking, rather than cognitive alone, will become more important. Sputnik and the National Defense Education Act response not only resulted in computer science as an emergent academic discipline, it also created great changes in engineering education. Sputnik caused many to believe traditional engineering programs needed to be refocused in order for the United States to compete in the space race. This shift was achieved in part at the expense of design and application-based laboratory courses. As the debate over engineering curriculum grew, a review of engineering education, which would become known as the Grinter Report, was commissioned. A primary recommendation of this report was for engineering programs to increase the mathematics, physics, and engineering science content of their curriculum. A draft report also recommended that engineering be bifurcated, with one form focusing more on the scientific and theoretical aspects to educate engineers working in research and design for the government. The other would focus on a more general, practical, and technical aspects of engineering. As government funding encouraged the scientific and theoretical aspects of engineering, institutions followed that lead and converted acres of their laboratory space in the reworking of their curriculum. This decision increased the gap between vocational associate degree programs and engineering programs. And technology programs jumped into that void. So that brief history lesson has led us to realize that technology programs have been around in the academy for more than 60 years. So what is it that's going to make Flint stand out and become nationally recognized in this arena? It's not by just offering technology programs alone, but it is by incorporating that all-important preceding word, innovation, into everything. Innovative programming, innovative relations with industry through industry-developed labs and curriculum, innovative pedagogical approaches to instruction, all things innovative. Welding and traditional construction management, these are fine technology programs offered by other schools in Michigan, but these are not the type of programs being developed within CIT. CIT is focused on preparing students to meet the challenges of next generation technologies. Those technologies that incorporate artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics, and so on. Innovation also includes how student progression is measured. For more than 100 years, the Academy has been measuring students using an evaluation system that rarely encourages risk-taking and in fact creates a fear of failure mentality. This does not mean that CIT is advocating for failure just for the sake of experiencing failure. It means that an environment must be established that frees students to focus less on what works and more on creative solutions that may be risky and unproven. Organizations such as Tesla and Netflix have been very successful implementing this model. And in fact, one of our industry panelists who participated in the virtual open house event last night echoed this very thought during the session. Also, the model of 4 years in school and then a career until retirement has changed. The boundary between being in school and being in a career needs to become more permeable without any penalties for crossing over. Often I'm asked, what are the job titles that students from CIT programs will have? And actually, these questions mostly come from the parents, so they want to know what their students will, what their kids will have a job in. Of course, we know some of the familiar titles, such as a quality engineer or systems engineer or network administrator or IT analyst, right? Just to name a few. But there's a lot of others we don't. And it's not because we're being naive, it's because those job titles don't exist today. We need to prepare students to be lifelong learners so that they are successful not only in their first job, but in their career. What about people already in the workplace? What if they want to increase their credentials? Typically, higher ed's response has been, here's a 124 credit degree program, good luck. I mean, it can be hard to see the finish line in that type of arrangement. So we kind of need to think innovatively. Suppose someone could enroll maybe in 3, 4, or 5 courses for 15 to 20 credits, and then receive a certificate or a credential. A number of these then could be stacked towards a full degree program. Providing something tangible as an intermediate level of success makes it a lot easier to imagine the finish line. If someone is interested in a degree program and the only response that we have is to give them 124 credits of requirements, that's pretty tough for them to imagine the finish line. People sometimes refer to T-shaped professionals as Renaissance people who combine technical expertise with breadth of knowledge, as exemplified by Leonardo da Vinci. Within the CIT environment, the STEM represents technical expertise gained through experiential, hands-on instructional environments. The bar represents the 21st century skills that industry affirms are vital: the creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, cultural awareness, all those aspects that are cultivated through a liberal education. And the depth represents the innovative methods of pedagogy and instruction, including those project-based learning throughout the curriculum, industry-sponsored labs, and integral partnerships. While proceeding with intentionality in developing the principles and inaugural programs for CIT, it's also important to reflect upon the evolving ideas within industry so that our graduates remain fully prepared. The best and obvious place to engage is with our industry partners. After all, a key part of our relationship is to provide the talent that will make their business a success. The Academy has been partnering with industry for decades, so the relationship alone does not make this an innovative adventure. It's been common for industry to partner in providing internship opportunities and projects for senior design courses. But CIT will go to the next level of partnership involvement, with discussions pointing towards authentic curricular development in classrooms and labs, as well as project-based learning at every level from freshman to senior design. Suggestions have already been received for retaining an engineer in residence to provide very close alignment with industry. Also, the creation of a foresight council of industry partners to guide the positioning of CIT will be important. So the graphic that I'm displaying right now just represents the industry partners that we've been engaging with thus far, right? We're still pretty young. We just started last fall. So by next year, we'll have 3 or 4 times as many industry partners, right? We're just going to keep engaging and ask for their advice as we go forward. Okay, so that's been kind of a very high level view of CIT and the guiding principles. So coming down a bit here into a more lower view, for fall, we have 2 inaugural degree programs: Digital Manufacturing Technology and Information Technology and Informatics. Digital Manufacturing Technology is essentially computer science applied to manufacturing and automation. When students graduate, instead of working for Google or Microsoft, companies that focus on software, they work for the manufacturing divisions of Ford or General Motors or Pfizer, which represent just a few of the many companies in Michigan that are increasing their investments in automated manufacturing and manufacturing 4.0 technologies. As long as people use products, there's a need for the manufacturing sector. It isn't leaving, but it is becoming more and more digital. The second program, Information Technology and Informatics, focuses on a broad base of computer-related skills and prepares graduates for employment at the intersection of people and technology. In fact, when meeting with our manufacturing industry partner, the feedback usually involves discussions on how manufacturing 4.0 really encompasses both of these programs. The success of automated manufacturing relies on robust communications. Factories are much different than residential settings in terms of wireless communications. There's a lot of metal in a factory setting. How does this impact the wireless signal? This is a real problem that industries need to address, and it's indicative of the value of the contributions from our industry partners. This disruptive change of the 4th industrial revolution also encompasses the entire design process. Subtractive manufacturing is using tooling, such as lathes and mills, to remove material, leaving the desired object behind. Additive manufacturing is using a 3D printer to build the part up layer by layer. 3D printing, while becoming more prevalent, is still a relatively new technology in industry. Humans, of course, have been using subtractive manufacturing for thousands of years. The first stone tools built by humans were examples of subtractive manufacturing. Pieces of the stone were chipped away. Additive manufacturing encourages a rethinking of the design process. Here's an example of an object that is either impossible or impractical to build through subtractive manufacturing. Now, I'm not saying that this ball and cage widget has any commercial value, but it does open up design possibilities that were previously unavailable. Looking towards the future, possibilities include biomedical technology, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, robotics, energy and sustainability. And this also includes energy storage, such as battery technology. Internal combustion engines are being phased out over the next few decades. This was recently announced by both Ford and General Motors. So that's going to be a big change. That's also going to be a big change to the manufacturing sector. This also includes the stewardship of batteries, right? So sustainability. How are cars going to be recycled now? The batteries will have to be handled separately. Batteries will also need to be manufactured likely using manufacturing 4.0 technologies. So our graduates from that program will be well positioned to contribute to that industry. So as described this evening, the guiding principles, along with this creativity possible through a clean sheet approach of building an academic unit from the ground up, allows for the reimagining of a comprehensive regional institution like Flint. While it still maintains its importance in conferring degrees, it becomes a much more integral piece of the economy and helps drive regional economic growth. So thank you for attending. Thank you all for attending. Happy to take any questions.
Chris, I think Nick's going to turn us, all three of us, on here. There we go. Yeah, please, if anyone has any specific questions, put them in the Q&A function, and we'll be glad to get those to anyone. A few things came up through the conversation, and I want to pose these here. It strikes us and the viewers that innovation and entrepreneurship are very much intertwined, right? A lot of the language and things we hear there are very similar. And I know for a fact that several school management faculty and things are some of the inaugural faculty in the college. Can you talk about that interrelationship of innovation and entrepreneurship?
Yeah, absolutely, right. So yes, there are School of Management faculty in the jointly appointed faculty group. I think entrepreneurship is innovation, right? I mean, this is what it is. It's like taking an idea and then turning it into something that will be able to be used by society, right? So it's the whole risk-taking endeavor that kind of we've talked about making an environment where students feel it's okay to take risks. Again, not to fail for failure's sake, but to be able to take risks. And that's really what entrepreneurship is about. I mean, look at Tesla and Netflix. They were unique ideas, right? Led by strong individuals, but still unique ideas, risky endeavors, but clearly successful in the end. And that is indicative of entrepreneurship as well. And part of this endeavor is also to think about making real applications, right? So as we go forward and using the gift from Schultz Automation to start building the smart learning factory, we're going to be engaging with faculty and School of Management to figure out what is the product that we want to produce in the smart learning factory. We don't want to make, well, it was neat to look at the widget I displayed. It doesn't have a whole lot of commercial value. So part of learning is understanding there needs to be a market for a product as well.
Well, and so much of that fits into the economic portion of this. Chancellor Dutta, that's been something that I remember standing in Ferris wheel with your first introduction, and a lot of your talk focused on sort of the economic partnership and economic impact a regional institution, comprehensive university like ours should have. Can you talk more about sort of where does this college position the U of M Flint strategically amongst its peer institutions? I think it has a regional impact for those of us that are sort of advocates for the Flint community. And then also you talk a lot about tech transfer and sort of the role that the college can play in that area as well.
Sure. So look, we are a regional comprehensive university, and it's important that we deliver on that mission. That is regional economic development, not only through producing graduates, good graduates that we do. And why is that? And the difference here is that most of our graduates, I believe close to 80% of our graduates actually remain in the region. So that is how we, any regional comprehensive is contributing to the region by their graduates. What I was saying, and I still believe it is very important, is that the institution can do more than that. We can partner with companies, with nonprofits, with the chamber, with other institutions, and actually compete for federal grants. There are many federal grants through the Department of Commerce, Department of Energy, and so forth, that when you put a team together that is led by U of M Flint or other partners, we have a very compelling case because we are an institution with a College of Innovation Technology looking at these areas of importance in the future. So like Chris was talking about batteries, it's a huge thing. And if we can compete for these federal grants and be successful, then that too is regional economic growth. And the last piece of that is not only are we going to do the research and the development that the federal grant allows us, we will take the next step, which is taking that innovation from the lab into the market. So that's the tech transfer piece, right? So we are looking very carefully such that our faculty who are engaged in research that leads to new products, new processes, new systems that has a market value, we will make every effort to take it to market through licensing and patenting and so forth. So if we can do that, I think the region will see more benefits than what we do by just producing graduates, which is, I mean, that's first and foremost. We produce excellent graduates, but we will do more than producing graduates. We will get the region up and running through these activities.
So speaking of producing graduates, one of the questions that came in through the Q&A here is about, is there any discussion about graduate programs in the college? Have we, is there given sort of a plan and some talks about that? And can you inform that question?
Sure, I can respond to that. I mean, yes, I can say, yes, there has been discussions about graduate programs, but I will also be clear about, okay, we need to establish our undergraduate programs and get ourselves established before we can branch off to graduate programs. But yes, I mean, we will certainly look towards those opportunities in graduate programs. And again, using some of the things that were discussed. When we do a graduate program, we have to think about how we can meet with an adult learner, right? So that graduate program may entail then mostly remote work and maybe come to campus a couple Saturdays a month or a couple Saturdays a semester or whatever. I mean, in some areas of technology, it's hard to envision a complete remote learning environment because you need to be exposed to the machines and such. But yes, I mean, graduate programs, yes, but let's try to establish our undergraduate programs and get them very strong, and then move forward and get some of our CIT faculty in place.
So Chris, that actually plays right into another question that came in here about sort of mixed mode versus face-to-face. So I know you were referencing graduate programs. What's the vision for the undergrad programs? Are we expecting primarily a face-to-face environment? Sans COVID, right? We've got to get through the COVID situation, which certainly plays a role in your answer. So maybe tell me what you're seeing for the fall, and then sort of what the vision is going forward from there, right?
Right. I think, post-COVID, I mean, regardless, we're going to have a blend of instructional strategies, right? So again, there are things that, require hands-on, instructor, student, really dynamic, close relationships. And that can be done, on a piece of equipment. Sometimes that can be done through a remote environment. So maybe you're controlling your robot. Maybe the instructor has an iPad, student has an iPad, and you're controlling the robot, and you can work that way. But there will be there will be times when that face-to-face interaction is required, and in fact, it's needed. It's needed for the learning that needs to take place. But we're going to explore all kinds of blended instruction, right? The more that we can get and leverage that valuable faculty time, right? So the more of the information, say, that can be put into an online learning kind of environment and really leverage that critical and that valuable faculty time for that hands-on learning, that close interaction with the student, that is really what we're driving towards, right? Maximizing that very valuable faculty time for that close student interaction.
Thanks, Chris. Chancellor, perhaps this one is best directed to you. When you came to campus, the certificate programs and stackable degrees was something that you spoke a bit about, and Chris, Dean Pearson referenced that in the presentation tonight. Can you give us an update on sort of where that concept stands at U of M Flint? If we've had some progress in that area, if that's still a goal out there?
Yeah, sure. So let me step back just a little bit and add to what Chris Pearson said about the graduate programs in response to the question. Yes, exactly what he said. We will first organize and get the undergraduate programs going, and then we will be thinking about graduate programs. But in his slides, you also saw the slide about lifelong learning, right? Gone are the days where you do that your education, your post-secondary education is front-loaded. As in, you do everything you need to do. You get a bachelor's degree, then you get a master's degree, and then you go to work and you're set for life. Those days are gone. Because technology is changing so rapidly and new knowledge is being created so rapidly that you cannot just rely or be competitive if you have a bachelor's and a master's or even a PhD. Okay, so the thing is that people have to find ways to remain engaged in the learning process, right? So we will look at, through this College of Innovation Technology, we will actually innovate in that space. So those innovations are, we haven't seriously delved into it, but let me throw out a concept here. I think there is going to be a day, not too long in the future, when an individual could demonstrate his or her knowledge base by being a member of a knowledge society. Okay, and let that knowledge society be at U of M Flint. Okay, what do I mean by that? Take, for example, the frequent flyer card that you have in Delta. You are a diamond. So what does it say? It just says that you fly a lot. You have flown 100,000 miles in the previous year. You are a silver. You have flown like 25,000 miles in the past year. Think of a concept like that in higher education, where people in their workplaces who are fully employed, they will take certain courses throughout the year, some modules, small modules, just to update their skills. And what they get in return is that card, or some version of that card. And it conveys to the employer that Brent Nicola is a member of that knowledge society, and therefore Brent is continually updating his knowledge and skill sets. I think a day like that is not too far from now. And we should be thinking, if we want to be out front, we should be thinking how to organize our programs such that we give the flexibility to people in the workplace. Okay? Give them all the flexibility, but give them the opportunity to do X number of modules throughout the year and keep their diamond or platinum card current, right? So that's a space where we have to innovate, and the College of Innovation Technology is well positioned as we work with industry partners. They can vet these ideas, but I think something like that is going to, you can't be doing one master's after one master's after, it just is not the model. Now, we did have an effort, a campus-wide effort where we had a committee look at what kind of stackable programs and certificates and so forth. Yes, we have the ideas, we have made some progress, but then COVID got in the way. However, I think in health sciences, they are looking at a complete stackable master's degree where you would take 3 certificates. Each certificate is 12 credits or so forth, with some flexibility built in. And over a certain period of time, you will get your master's. So that is being worked upon in office, in online and digital education. In that office, they are looking at more certificate programs. So those will be coming out soon. But I think we have this opportunity to actually reimagine with our industry partners, what do they value in their employees? And what kind of opportunities and what frequency should their employees engage in the knowledge acquisition phase? You know, so I'm very excited. I think things are changing, and we have the opportunity through this new college and our industry partners to actually shape this space. And there's going to be some activity, and U of M-Flint can actually be a leader in there.
Thank you for that. One final question was, and Chancellor, your remarks are a perfect segue. There's a question about who should an industry partner contact if they have some interest in being involved with the college, or for that matter, with the university. Who do you suggest that we put them in contact with?
So we have our Office of Research and Economic Development, ORED. ORED is serving as a one-stop shop. Folks from the outside, from companies, you go to ORED, and within ORED is the business engagement office, and you can contact them, and they will put you in touch with Dean Pearson or Dean Gano-Phillips or so forth. So this office is very important. It is new. It is doing very well. It is a one-stop shop for faculty, staff, and students when they want to work with folks outside, and vice versa. It's a one-stop shop for people on the outside. You go there, and the partnership opportunities will be made.
Okay. Thank you. When we will be, this evening's been recorded. We will be posting it on the Alumni Office's YouTube channel. We'll be sure to include the link to the Office of Economic Research and Economic Development. We can be sure to include it there. We are out of time. I do want to give an opportunity to both Dean Pearson and to say some final remarks here, and then we'll let Chancellor Dutta close this out. So Dean Pearson, some closing remarks.
Yep. Thank you again, Brent. So I just again want to thank everyone for their attendance, and I will be quite transparent and say, raising a new college from a clean sheet it takes a village. Right, so all of you out there, we're eager for your help and support as well. So thank you again.
And Chancellor Dutta.
Yeah, and I'd like to say just a couple things. If Dean Pearson is willing to take students over 60, then I'd like to sign up, because I so enjoyed his presentation. I had not heard this one. It is really exciting. But I echo what he just said. To start a college from a clean sheet of paper, as exciting as it is, as innovative as it can be, it takes a village. So we are working internally, externally, and so we need the help of our industry partners, new partners, the community members. It can really make a huge difference for the region, for the city of Flint. As we organize our programs, we want to make sure that we get the right partnership of industries from the very beginning, which Dean Pearson is doing. So I'm once again, I will just end by thanking Charles Stewart Mott Foundation, who actually made this possible. So we will work very hard with our community to make it a success for the city of Flint and the region.
Thank you so much to everyone for being here. This is our final scheduled town hall for the time being, but with the new dean and the School of Nursing, I suspect we will be scheduling something soon and getting another town hall ready to go with our alumni and donors. So once again, thanks from everybody from the Office of University Advancement and the University of Michigan-Flint for being here tonight. Everybody have a great evening, and go blue.